Hi, I'm Dave Rudin, and in this pandemic age, normally this would be a podcast, but decided to go with the Zoom Videocast. And probably the biggest question pre-pandemic in the FCAC was who's going to get the Darien football job, and that question was answered yesterday morning when it was announced that defensive coordinator Mike Forget will be the next coach, and he joins me right now. Mike, thanks and congratulations.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. Hello, everyone.
So, how did I know you found out yesterday morning? Did they just give you a call and you not know what the call was about, or how did it all go down?
Yeah, I had no idea it was coming. I knew that the process was on hold because, we weren't in school, and, I thought they would try and go with some kind of communication video wise. And I got a phone call and said, we'd like to offer you the job, and here are stipulations. It's on an interim basis, and we're likely to open up the job again next year. And I said, hey, I'm in it. I'm ready to go.
I guess that makes sense all around. If they haven't finished the process, and I don't even know from the way the school operates, whether they have to finish the process or not. I know there's a way how long they keep a job posted for, but on the other hand, you go out and do the job you're expecting to do, it's going to be pretty hard to say no to you next year.
That's my hope. That's my feeling. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for 8 years in the program, and trying to win football games and motivating a fine group of athletes to get the job done.
How number one, how exciting! I mean, this is one of the prized jobs in the state, one of the prized jobs in the Northeast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said in the paper. I'm honored and I'm humbled by this position. It's a privilege to be able to work with these fine, outstanding athletes in this town. And everybody keeps asking me what's it like to follow a legend. Legend is in my corner, and he's like a brother to me, and he'll be there for me. So it's all good.
Hey, you've been following him on the sidelines for 8 years, so it's just a little bit different for you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now it'll be on my shoulder.
This sounds like somewhat like a dumb question, but maybe this for people out there who hear head coach and hear coordinator, and kind of know what a coordinator does, but maybe not. But you've been a head coach before, so you were the coach from 2001 through 2007, both Fairfield Consolidated High School, and then went back to 2 schools at Ludlow. So you're gone from head coach to coordinator, head coach. What for the people out there who may not know, what are the change in responsibilities now from what you were doing as a DC?
The only change in responsibility is contact with parents, contact with administration, ordering items and things like that. The day-to-day stuff in terms of practice plan and putting together game plan and all that stuff, that's all stuff that coordinators do anyway. I mean, Rob and I combined would watch 40 hours of film a week on our opponent and getting ready for the next week. So it's all there. Just the changes are, like I said, working with the people that are surrounding the program, the youth program, and development there, and all those great things.
What's the dynamic? Obviously, the different part now is you also oversee the offensive side of the ball. And I know you told me yesterday, Dante Corrente, a former Darien player and former offensive coordinator at New Canaan, who came back to your staff last year, is going to be the offensive coordinator. So what's the dynamic now as the head coach in terms of what you do on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, my job will be to oversee everything. Dante and I have been talking about, what he would like to implement and what I would like to see, and, putting the two together. And, even though I'm a defensive guy, I'll be overseeing everything, all the aspects, and making sure that, we have everything set and ready to go. It's really the process has already been put in place. We've been doing it for 8 years. There's not a lot that's going to change now that I'm in the position and Rob's out of the position. So all just works kind of the same.
Have you? I'm assuming you've spoken to Rob since yesterday.
Absolutely. I talk to Rob on a daily basis. We actually work together in the summertime too. So
Oh, you
we
work
all
at the club there too?
I work at Rolling Point Association.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So we see each other all the time, and it's always football.
And I obviously I know he's very happy the way it played out. He was hoping you were going to get the job for a number of reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about that for 8 years now. What would happen when he retired, and he brought me over from Massac High School for this reason, and I'm glad it came to fruition.
I guess the big thing right now that's a huge advantage for you and for the program is continuity, especially now that we're dealing in unique circumstances with the pandemic. We hopefully the fall season will go as is, and the only thing that get disrupted somewhat is the off-season planning that's going on now and teams that play spring football. But I imagine the transition's going to be smooth to begin with. And now it's going to make it even easier in these unusual times.
Yeah, I would hope so. I hope it's going to be an easy transition. Obviously, the loss we are a spring football team. The loss of spring football is going to hurt. That's a time when we really focus on the younger guys, getting them to know the offense and the defense, and putting them in the position to be successful. That's going to be a little bit difficult, but we'll get those 4 days, extra days when fall comes around, and hopefully what's not impacted is all of the stuff that goes on in the off season. The passing league tournaments, the lineman challenges, all that stuff. So we'll see what happens, and right now the guys are working. They're doing their workouts at home. Most of them have weight sets at home anyway, and they're doing their online studying for our offensive and defensive packages.
I know you told me without a head coach during this offseason, it's been sort of everything by committee. What exactly have you been dealing with since Rob stepped down?
I've tried to have my hand in everything. I'm an indoor track coach at Stratford High, so I wasn't able to get to the weight room while that was in season. But once that was up, and I got to the weight room every day and made sure the guys were doing their workouts. In terms of the weekend stuff and the passing league and all that, I was at those regularly, and the input of the offense that we were trying to do. We didn't do a whole lot because we were unsure about where we were going to be going, but we had a general feeling about where we wanted to be, and we started to input the offense and defense for the passing leagues and so on.
Maybe you haven't had too much time to really think about this, or are there any part of the game that you like to do that may be a little bit different than what Darien's been doing during the last 12 years?
Not much, just some little tweaks about practice and how we do some things. I came from Massac, which was a 2-platoon program. We didn't have very many players that went both ways. I over the course of the 8 years, I've tried to establish that, and Rob's been a little flexible in allowing me to do that and take some players who were just defensive players and keep them that way. It really allows a player that might not be as good as the other guy to close the gap with all the repetitions that they're getting.
Haven't even thought of really about personnel. I know you lost a lot from last year. Who are some of the key players that are coming back? Certainly Ivanchuk, who came on like a wild man last year. He was, the last 2 months might have been as good as any defensive lineman in the state.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the Newtown game, they were double teaming him, and uh, either chipping them with a running back or two linemen just to keep them off the quarterback. And we had to find creative ways to get to the quarterback, without him because he was being double teamed. David's a great player. Connor O'Malley, fantastic player. He'll be looking to play from offense and defense for us. Alec Washeka on the line. Teddy, one of our defensive linemen, Jackson Walsh. There's an abundance of players. We have a quarterback battle going on with Miles and Connor Palin right now. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out when things come down.
That's kind of exciting. Do you obviously the program has been at such a high level, elite level. Is there any, you probably don't feel it yet. It's been 24 hours. You think there's going to be a lot of pressure that comes with this?
Yeah, certainly. I guess the pressure is to keep the status quo. If we lose games we shouldn't next year and we end up 6-4, then people be like, oh, maybe it's the wrong decision. But really, it's not a lot of pressure because I've done the stuff already, with the exception of what we already talked about in terms of contact with administration and parents and stuff like that. So the ins and outs have already been there. So I don't expect much to change and no pressure.
How much does it help you that you have 6 years experience being a head coach?
It helps a lot. It helps a lot, certainly in terms of dealing with players and positioning and playing time and so on. It definitely has given me a step up in terms of dealing with these issues that might arise.
I know you guys always seem to find some sort of rallying point in the off season, whether it's winning another state championship, or this past year it was the disappointment of not winning a state championship. How hard has it been? Is there still a little bit of lingering aftermath from the Newtown game and the way that ended?
It's especially being the defensive coordinator and losing on the last play of the game with 6 seconds or 13 seconds, whatever was on the clock, is definitely a disappointment. But our rally cry has always been the same. We want to win Thanksgiving. We want to win a state championship, and the guys are motivated as ever. And I don't think there needs to be any kind of rallying cry. They're just ready to go. It's the foundation was set by guys years ago, and these guys want to hold that candle.
Short term, is it just guys working out at home, you sort of doing your planning, and then I guess you try to be ready to go once you get the go ahead that you can resume as normal?
Yeah, that's about it. Been in contact with John Carluzzi, our strength and conditioning coach, and he set up some standards for the guys at home, and we're in contact talking about what our off-season program will look like. And it's guys just working out at home and studying their playbook on huddle, and you hit the ground running once we're able to.
All right. Well, Mike, I've known you a long time, so real happy for you. Congratulations. It's a good choice for Darien. I know how excited you are, and I know there aren't going to be too many changes next year off the field, and hopefully no changes on the field as well. So congratulations. I look forward to working with you, and thanks for taking a few minutes here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dave.
And that's, I guess I can't say the Rudin Report podcast, but the Rudin Report videocast. And thanks again to Mike, and we'll see y'all soon.